So this week, this is the tech talk I wanted to bring up because it was just on one of the things I was mentioning. Do you want to know where this came from? This came from Krypton teaser.
Oh, yeah.
So you know that Krypton got the new teaser? Yeah, watch that. Krypton's the planet, Krypton, all that. One of the old comic stories about why Krypton blew up was, this is getting real nerdy before we get into tech, but that's the point of it. On Krypton, they went across the universe, they expanded, they did all that, and then they moved back to Krypton.
Right.
And then everyone's like, oh, we should live forever. We should be real old. We're real tech. And the way they did that was that they would clone every person when they were born.
Right.
At different stages of development.
Okay.
And they'd grow them in these vats. So you'd have like a version of you that's 5, 10, 20, 40.
Yeah.
And then whenever you got sick, they just harvest the parts.
Yeah.
So you get in an accident because you crashed your Subaru. They'd give you an arm from whatever. And then what happened was this whole rights group came up and said, well, those clones are all alive. So this is slavery. This is torture. So they all have rights. Then there was a civil war, blah, blah, blah. Someone left a bomb in the core, planet destroyed.
Right.
But I'm saying the end of the world happened because of clones.
Okay.
So what the question I want to put to you is, do you think a full clone should have rights?
A full clone.
A full clone. Because it's not just a body clone. Because if you get, say, Alzheimer's, because your name's Al. If you had something like that and they needed to take portions of the brain out and be like, all right, we can see where his synapses are screwed.
Yeah.
We'll take parts from this one and put it in and he'll be fine.
Yeah.
So it has to be a fully functioning you.
Sure.
And what happens, I'm guessing the scenario is when you get born, mom and dad, they clone you and that just stays in a vat, in a tube somewhere in the desert.
Just for extras.
And that grows at the same rate.
Yeah.
So whatever age you are, that clone will be it. And then maybe when it gets to 20, they freeze it. Or 23 is when you're perfect, isn't it? Yeah, I think 23 is when you're developed.
Okay.
So when you're 23, that's when your body's at its peak.
I think I'm still going.
You're still going, still getting better, stronger, faster. But they keep it like that. So at any point for the next 50 years, you could always have a fresh new part.
Sure.
Do you think that thing should have rights?
I do think so. Because I think like you've created another human basically,
right?
And you haven't done it naturally and it's come out of a womb, but you have created another human being and it's got a mind and it can think. I mean, you can say that about animals in a way. You know, should you be treating animals this way and that way? You know, but with a human, having him locked up, it's going into fucking prestige as well. But,
so you just think that you can't do that at all? Because that's what this podcast is. Me and you making the laws for the future.
Of course.
We've already sorted cars.
So the cars, they're all good.
Yeah, now
we need the fuckers. Well, I was going to say the fuckers are going to drive it, but no one's driving it.
The way I look at it is we're definitely going to clone.
Yeah.
Absolutely we're going to do it.
But I think it's going to be such a hard topic. Such a hard thing to do. Like we're going to be doing it in such small steps that I don't know if we'll ever get to.
They were saying that about the LP, and then the CD came along. Now we've got MP3.
It's going to be small steps. I mean, what do you think? Like, I think once you've got that other clone, like it's another person. You know,
right? You
can't just throw him in a friggin' tube.
So you're gonna? Would you say that just dead set can't do it? You can't clone a person.
And well, I think you can, but you just got to.
But I'm saying the law. The law is you can't do it.
I think it was just going to be easier on everyone if we
just put a blanket.
Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Just don't do it.
Because it's too much, isn't it? Like if you did it and that's another person, then you got to ask questions like, who is responsible for it?
Yeah. And then
do you own it because it's your clone, or do your parents own it because they cloned you as a baby?
And then also that clone growing up, like maybe it won at 100 meters. Oh, it won because it's a clone and it probably got like some, extended DNA put into it.
Well, that's the Gattaca discussion about.
But people will just question it anyway.
Yeah.
And then they'll, you're just being a clone. Yeah. It's such a crazy topic.
Yeah.
But,
it's getting closer and closer because the reason it starts is that kind of idea of you do the 23andMe.
Yeah.
And that's like the first stage of mapping where's your body at? What's your chance of getting pancreatic cancer?
Yeah.
It's like, you got 7% chance. Well, did you know that we could go into your baby?
Yeah.
And while they're in their womb, mess with these cells so they've got like a 1% chance.
Sure.
You take that. Every parent in the world would take that.
Yeah.
And then it might get to the point where the parents are like, maybe you can make them run the 100 meters.
Yeah.
You know that?
Yeah.
Or not even just sort of like take the best parts of it. So it's like I want it to be as tall as me because I'm taller than my wife.
Sure.
But I want it to have her temperament.
I can see it going down that way because money's going to lead it that way as well. People paying to have that.
Because then we get to the Gattaca world where you just make a perfect person. Because if you could, why wouldn't you?
No, yeah. And even like the army. The army would use it as well. And then eventually we'll get into like X-Men, but it'll be like make him stronger, make him do this.
And that goes back to the other Krypton version, which is all the people are bred from birth for their particular skill.
Sure.
So you want to be the best car driver in the world. They'll give you better hand-eye. They'll give you better...
Yeah.
They make you tall enough that you fit in the car perfectly, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But if you want to be a general or a soldier, they'll make you stronger and bigger, better tactical brain and all that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems...
it's crazy. But you're completely right. It's going to happen. It's just how they go about it. And it's going to be in small increments, like I was saying. That it might happen over, say, 10 years or whatever. And then you'll be like, shit, yeah, we are cloning whole people. But it's going to happen so small, as in like, we can make him this height. Yeah. Or we can do that. But eventually it's all going to add on top of each other. And you're like, hang on a second, we've just created like this crazy super... Because you can also argue that, we can prevent cancer, like,
right.
They won't get these
That's
cells.
What I mean,
Like the cells will deflect, and all that lot. And for those reasons, I can be like, shit, kind of makes sense. Maybe we should.
I definitely think it'll start that way with the negative.
Yeah.
Like instead of getting a vaccine, we can just put it into the womb.
Yeah.
So you won't get polio.
But then
like, okay, that's great.
But then you're going to get like the Olympic Games, and then the guy that won is going to come out that he's been cloned for his leg because something happened. Or,
genetically engineered.
And then it's just going to get blown out.
But then you have the argument again, not against it, but the argument for it. Like if you're trying to legalize or
the clone Olympics.
Yeah, like if you're trying to regulate what your baby can have done to it.
Yeah.
Where's the limit there? Like if you say,
is it a money thing?
Yeah, like my baby's gonna have a 6% chance of this disease. So are you going to tell me as the government that I can't get rid of that?
I know, yeah.
So the government will be like, oh, no. If it's a disease, you can get rid of it.
Yeah.
But then on the other, you would just get to the next stage and be like, well, it's still my genes.
Yeah.
So why can't I make sure that it has my height?
Yeah. But then you also fall into the category of people are going to live for longer, and we kind of don't want that. Then we're going to be overcrowded. Like, seriously overcrowded.
No, because that's a misconception with the way things are. When societies get to a very successful point, the number of babies drops.
Right.
So in really successful countries like Germany and Japan, the birth rate is less than the death rate.
Yeah, okay.
So their populations drop. So they need migration because two parents. They're
having less kids.
They're only having one.
Yeah.
Whereas to keep it stable, you need two. Yeah. Obviously, otherwise.
As long as it works that way. Yeah. Which it shows that it is going that way.
Yeah, like the highest birth rates are always in the poorest countries. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But if you could turn around tomorrow and say to everybody, you're all fine, you'll never get sick.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, well, I don't need 6 kids. Like I'm saying this coming from Ireland where we had.
Yeah.
Like I've seen with my own eyes, like my grandparents, the size of my granddad's family, and then the size of my dad's, he had 3 in his family.
Yeah.
And there was just 2 in mine. 2 and 3 is like normal now. But back when my granddad was around, it was like 5, 6. My great granddad was 8.
What about the nutcases out there? Like, we only want him to be, like this tall.
Yeah.
And we want, can we have the left arm?
Yeah.
And longer than the right? I don't know who would do that, but
it's true. Like that's a moral question.
Yeah.
Like if you turn around and I say to you, I want to get rid of the cancer in your baby, and you say fine, and you say, and I also want his leg to be one leg on the other.
Yeah. I'm gonna name.
Do I have a right to say no to you?
Thor, and can we have his upper body? Can it be like just big? I want him to be a big guy. You know? Kind of like that. Yeah, that's where it gets like friggin' mental.
It's also it brings up the question of like, what can a parent then do?
Yeah.
Because you get born.
Yeah.
And if you got born and you were simply, I'm not going to get sick, you can't really give out to your parents.
Yeah.
But if you get born and it's because your dad said he wanted a football player.
Yeah,
so I wanted to be 6'2".
That's a good case.
And you're like, I don't want to be a fucking football player, Dad.
Yeah.
Why did you put this on me?
Yeah.
And it's like...
Oh, you'll definitely get that.
It then goes down to, at what point do babies have the right to just have the chance to live the way they should?
Yeah.
Because if you program it into someone's brain that they're going to be more adept at mathematics and they're going to be better suited to a particular job. You're kind of choosing their life for them. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And then the child comes out and it's like 35 years old and it's like, I'm miserable. I don't want to be a fucking physicist.
I was wondering why I was so bloody good at football. It's like, no, I know that's messed up because it is up to the parent, and the parent can totally decide all that. But is it their right to? Because they.
Well, legally, that's the right now. Because if you have a kid and you say, I want my kid to go to this school,
of course, you can lead them up until a certain point,
until 18 in this country at least. You can do whatever you want to that kid.
Yeah.
Your only job is to keep them alive.
Yeah.
You can do anything else.
Sure.
You can feed them what you want as a kid. You can teach them whatever you want. Like you could just say, the most powerful thing in the universe is a blue chimpanzee and it lives on Everest.
Yeah.
And the child will grow up thinking this. We do it all the time. We say Santa's real till they're like a certain age,
He is real.
No, he's real, but the blue chimp.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, okay. I thought for a second there, I thought you were saying Santa wasn't real.
No.
Oh, okay.
He was the example of, boy, we're good to kids.
Okay.
When you're bad to kids, you tell them the blue chimp is going to take... Yeah. So now you see it. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So that's my point of, you can do what you want to the kids. And then it's just a slippery slope that terrifies me of, okay, I can say the kid doesn't get a disease. And no one can argue with that. Like there's nobody who can sit on the other side of the fence and say, well, maybe you should give them the... You want my kid to have a chance of getting tuberculosis or whatever? I'm like,
who's writing these rules as well? Like the same thing with
the
cars.
That's our job.
Well, we're writing them right now. So we got a typewriter in the corner. I don't know what's a typewriter. There is. But
still a step up from my computer. I know that much.
Just like the cars that we were talking about. Someone's going to write the rules of if they're going off a cliff, but do they turn right? But there's a family in that car.
Yeah.
So the same thing of this. Like who's writing what families can do? Is it a money thing? Is it like, why should that family have that baby can't get cancer or will give themselves to deflect or whatever? But this one, sorry, you're $5,000 out or whatever. Is that going to be a thing? Or is it all just going to be like, hey, we can cure this. Everyone gets it. But then there's going to be people that will complain and go like, well, what are you actually doing here? And like, is there going to be side effects to it when they grow it? It's crazy.
It's like the GMO, people will freak out about that.
It will go down that route though, won't it? So
I think it's...
When do you reckon we'll be there?
I think, we already cloned Dolly 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theory about that and all that. We're going to that some other
episode. What did we do with her or him? Did we just shoot him into space?
Yeah, I think we did.
Probably did. So.
Do you want to go colonize the planet?
Yeah.
Okay, off you go. I think it was this week, it was the March for Science.
Right.
Which is like, stop bullshitting, like climate change is real. This is the facts. And I think we're getting to the point now of the science is getting so far ahead of where the average person is.
Yeah.
That the people who should be writing the laws are the people who understand the science.
Right.
Like we could sit down and say, if you clone this and this will happen. But that's politicians talking about it. I think we're way past. I don't think someone could just walk into a room and just make a rule about this.
No, I know. I agree.
And I think you need scientists to step up and be like, well, if these 60...
Put some hard facts against it.
But I think it'll come down to money, like you said.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it will. But it's going to be a sad world if...
That is the Gattaca universe, isn't it? There's what do they call them? Godborns?
Yeah.
Yeah, the people who couldn't afford to genetically...
That's a sad
Oh,
future,
spoiler alert for that movie, just now. Isn't it one of them they could afford and one of them they couldn't?
Honestly, don't know. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, because Ethan Hawke is the one who couldn't afford it.
Better be right.
But his brother was the detective.
Okay.
They gave him all the money to make him the healthy one.
Right.
And the other one they couldn't afford.
Yeah, I think I remember my brother telling me about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good point.
Yeah, I mean, that's a crazy future, but I can see it going down the money route. But yeah, whoever has to write these rules and then kind of say what's wrong. And
like, we're already there in terms of, I remember there was a kid who was, there was a family and they had a child, and the child had some form of cancer, I believe.
Yeah. And
then they needed to get a bone marrow transplant.
Sure.
But it was a very rare match and there was no matches and they couldn't find it. So what they did is the parents had another baby.
Yeah.
But that baby's fetus was altered.
Okay.
So that it made sure that child had the right marrow.
Yeah.
So when that child was born, they used him as a donor to save his brother.
Ah, okay.
So we're already at that stage where you can start messing with what's in it.
It's
And
incredible.
now they're doing stem cells where they put stem cells into wounds
Yep.
and it'll heal and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And he got 3D printing with with parts now. And I know they're doing like face transplants.
Yeah, they can do the heart now. They 3D print a heart and all this.
Yeah. My wife works for a heart surgeon, and he's been looking into a lot of the 3D printing of organs and the heart. So
we don't even need to clone somebody, you just need to print them.
I know. That's probably what's going to happen. Just make sure you use the right material.
Oh,
That
God.
was plastic.
Don't put them in the sun too long.
Yeah.
I guess a full clone's a bit too sci-fi.
Well, that's the original thing that you told me there.
No, but the clone thing, was just because of, they can clone dogs now.
Yeah.
Where they're, your dog dies.
Yeah.
You send them the dog.
I heard about this, actually. Yeah, and they basically clone your dog.
They clone your dog and put him back.
Put him back, which is just not right, really. I mean,
it's not right, but at the same time, if one of your cats was killed,
and
I said, "Give me $200, you can have him back."
I probably wouldn't know. It's like he's gone.
Really?
Yeah, I know. Honestly, I probably would, but maybe a dog's different. Dogs are a little bit more affectionate.
Dogs are better than
whereas
cats.
the cats
You're right,
are like, get the fuck out.
You said it. Dogs are better than cats. Well, then, if we want to go down, let's just keep going down our moral grey area. If you went to the absolute extreme, and your kid died,
right?
Clone the kid.
Yeah, that's just crazy, because is that your kid? When you clone him, I think honestly,
now how do you write the law about that? Is that a new kid?
Yeah.
Is that a new citizen?
And what is his memory? When is his memory up till? Before he died?
That's
Does
another
he remember?
thing. Yeah, I don't even know if you can clone the memory. I don't think that's even possible. That wouldn't make sense.
I know. Yeah, that's true.
It's maybe because it's all just data. It's all just.
It's in Star Trek when they beam them up and everything.
Yeah.
They basically are dying and they recreate them.
That's true, isn't it?
That's
the
what
system
happens in
is
Star Trek.
They rip them apart.
Yeah.
Put them to the what's it called?
Transporter, or you
are
you going into?
There's a part of it. Yeah,
I know. What
they
you
take it apart and then they put you back together.
Yeah.
So they do kill you.
Yeah, I know. I remember because obviously I watched the show and I loved it, and then someone said that they were like, "Oh, when they get transported, they basically are dying and then coming back."
Yeah, because you're not the same person that goes in that comes
you're
out.
not the same person, which goes back to I think
memory banks. That's it.
Okay.
Because they take every part of you and it goes into the memory bank.
Yeah.
And then it puts you back.
Yeah.
But it's ripping you apart.
That's right. Yeah.
I remember that because it was.
And then you can argue, like, is that the same person? It's like, yes, it is, but I don't know how they do it. Well, obviously, it's a TV show. But
that's an old
memories,
argument. It's not a paradox, but it's a thought experiment. I think it was the Argos, the ship.
Right.
So if I build a ship, right?
Yeah.
And I have this huge, big longboat ship that has 50 people. They're all rowing on it, big sails.
Yeah.
And then we go to battle, win the war.
Yeah.
Everybody's great. We take it back to port, and you realize, we got rammed. We got all these planks we got to fix.
Yeah.
So you take out the planks and you fix them.
Yeah.
And you take the ship out again. You keep doing this. And eventually, after 5 or 6 years of fighting, every piece of that ship is a completely new piece.
Yeah.
Is it still the same ship that left 5 years?
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Like, at what point do you stop
Yeah.
being the thing that you were?
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, actually. Technically, it is. Technically, physically, it's not, because those pieces are gone now.
Yeah.
But it is, because it's like the spirit of the ship.
Yeah, and that's our bodies. What is it? The oldest part of a human is 10 years old.
Sure.
Because we're regenerating. Our cells are splitting.
Yeah.
I think it's your liver. Your liver's 10 years old.
Right.
But the rest of you's average 2 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like when you see those flakes on your keyboard or your mouse. It's like it's just your skin. You're just shedding yourself.
You're dying. You're dying on the boards.
Yeah.
I don't know about the kid thing. That's the one that freaks me out.
Yeah, because you can't help but look at them and be like, "You were dead five days ago," or and then you're like, "But this guy remembers." Well, I don't know. Memory thing's another thing, but this guy's running around the room.
Let's say that's the scenario where if you clone it, they've managed to perfectly replicate all the synapses and neurons. Yeah. So that you have all the memories.
Honestly, it's very easy to forget things. Like, so if if something horrible happens to you, but you know that the next day it will be okay, kind of thing, you can kind of almost forget about it. Like, I don't know, just say like if you're on a train and you had like a bad experience, something happened, maybe someone picked a fight with you and you're like, it just really upset me, but the next day you can just be like, I just want to forget about that. I just want to forget that happened, and then you live on with your life. It's a little bit like, obviously it's more extreme, but if someone was to die and then you bring them back, it would be a little bit like, let's just forget about that.
Yeah.
You know, I know you never would be able to, but you'd be like, but the fact that they're back and they're running around the room again and they're doing their thing,
Yeah.
you would kind of be able to, you know, just carry on. I think people would do it. I think it would.
So where's the law on that? Because we've said the law is
it's money.
The law is you cannot clone yourself.
Yeah.
As long as you're alive,
Yeah.
you can't have a clone of yourself.
Yeah.
When you die, can you be cloned back?
So how did the person die? Because basically when
that's part of it.
Well, I'm thinking out loud here. I'm just saying, like, say, like, if you were to, I don't know. I'm trying to think how that person died, and it depends how you bring them back.
Right.
Because your body might be fine. Your whole body might be fine. It might just be I don't know, something in your brain just went.
Aneurysm,
and if they could just fix that little piece and you're back, or they're recreating your whole body again. Like what?
Whole new one.
A whole new one. Yeah.
So
just dumping you.
Yeah. You got hit by that Uber.
Yeah.
And then we put that body in the ground.
Yeah.
And we clone you. It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
But you were dead.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, it's crazy. It'll be a money thing, but then then it will be like celebrities. You can tell that it would like Tupac and Elvis and stuff like that.
Yeah,
if it did exist back then. Imagine.
Like, is that the rights? Could you do that? Like nowadays,
I don't think it's fair.
Star Wars Rogue One, they had Tarkin.
Yeah.
And the actor's family said, yeah, you can use his image. That's fine, because they own the rights to his estate. So when you die, do you now have to sign the rights of cloning to your family? Be like, do not clone me.
Yes, for sure. That's actually 100% something that will happen. Yeah, percent. Like you put on your OHIP card and everything like that.
Yeah.
So,
which again goes back to the kids thing, because kids don't have a say in it. If you're under 18 years old.
Yeah. But it is up to the parents.
You're a guardian. We're getting dark on this because this is why I'm.
Yeah.
It's the future. And like if you're a 16-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And things aren't going well, and you kill yourself.
Yeah.
Your parents bring you back.
Yeah.
Like, what's that going to do?
Yeah, that's nuts. That is nuts, actually.
You're like, why did you bring me back? It's like, because you're a daughter and
Yeah.
we love you and you're 16, so you don't get a say in this.
Yeah.
When you're 18, you could do it.
Sure.
But for now, we're going to therapy and we're going to talk about this.
Yeah. But then you can argue that when she killed herself, she was in a bad place. They brought her back and they bring her back to life, in another way of, like, don't do this, don't do that. Yeah. And then she's like, I just realized what I've done. Now that I'm in hospital.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying
I'm just saying there's different levels to it. But yeah, that is nuts. It's another whole thing. But you are right. There will be, do not clone me or allow cloning.
Do not resuscitate.
Allow
do
cloning
not
if the money's there.
Yeah.
So,
the money will definitely come into it.
Yeah. Which is
my worry is going
crazy.
like the really rich people. So you take, what's his name? Rockefeller.
Oh, I just thought of another scenario.
He's dead.
Yeah.
Clones himself and comes back.
But man,
so he
what
never
about
loses
this?
an empire.
What about this?
Yeah.
Heath Ledger.
Right.
Everyone loved him.
Yeah.
Kickstarter, bring him back.
Oh God.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bring money. But then again, he could have signed that. Don't bring me back.
Yeah.
But imagine, and then a star like that, if he said bring me back, clone, he'd have the money for it. But imagine there was a scenario where like he didn't have any family or whatever, and then he gambled his money away.
Yeah.
So can you imagine like Kickstarter, like bring Ledger back, and everyone's like boom, boom, boom. It's like we can bring 3 of them back.
Yeah,
if we want.
corpse starter.
But that's another fucking thing, isn't it? Oh, that's crazy. But
it's all crazy stuff. That's all coming.
Yeah,
the automated cars and the clone kids.
I say hopefully not in our lifetime, but
if we have kids,
then it might be in their it will be in their lifetime. That's why the thing that really stuck with me, and I was telling a couple of guys about from last week's show was like our niece and your niece and stuff.
Yeah,
like won't need a driving license.
No.
I don't think they will.
No,
I honestly don't think they will. So,
if they do get it, it'll be like you getting an LP player. Like, look what I can do. Look what I can do.
That is actually quite mind-blowing for me. The fact that they won't need one. And then I think, I can't remember what you said. I can't quote it, but it was like, let's have a go at that steering wheel. Hand drive in the vintage car.
Your hand wheel. Give me your hand wheel car.
It's just bloody nuts.
Yeah.
So.
That's the thing with the cloning. Like, it seems like it's a million years away. It's sci-fi. It's Star Trek. I'm like, it's not that far. We're already doing all the stem cells. We've got the code.
Yeah,
we know the whole.
I think what will slow it down is like the moral part of it and like what you can and can't do, and then like
the morals is what. That's what terrifies me.
Yeah, because it's just like this.
Imagine you were 18 or whatever.
Yeah.
So you're your own person.
Yeah.
and you don't get cloned like perfectly.
Yeah.
Simply what happens is that you clone them again. They become a baby.
Sure.
They give birth to them again.
Okay.
That kind of clone. So in vitro cloning. So they just took your cells. And
So you're saying that I need to grow up another 18 years to realize that I've been gone 18
Yeah.
years?
So you died when you were 12.
Yeah.
You died when you were 12. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, we loved him. Let's do it again.
Yeah, yeah.
So they started it again.
Yeah.
And then you're 18 and then your parents have to legally tell you when you were you previously were here.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think a lot of people would do that. I think a lot of
Mess you
people
up.
I don't think a lot of people do that. I think anyone that has like a conscience would basically say that's not right, and when they're older, like we can't even tell them that.
But I'm saying you would legally have to tell them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But
you know what I mean? Because when you go to sign like a passport, or you go to the voting registration, you go, oh, you're 2.0.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
I think most people.
Alex died 20 years ago.
Yeah.
They clone them again. You're the other copy of Alex.
I think most people start with a new baby.
Just get a new baby.
And the other thing is, when they grow up, say if you did clone them again, you would bring them up differently because you're 18 or 12, whenever they die, 12. You're 12 years older. You actually bring them up different. They won't be the same person.
Yeah.
You'll be bringing them up 12 years older, and you will be bringing them up differently.
And they'll be a different person.
And they'll be a different person for it. So you won't be bringing up the same person. So I don't think...
But genetically, it's still the same person.
Genetically. But I don't think people do that because I honestly think like half the thing with a baby as well is not knowing. It's like, it's just like, you don't know, like, how they're going to grow up. And that's exciting as well,
Yeah.
And, like, some people don't want to know sex and all that lot.
Yeah.
But to say, I want that person again, but not have them for another 12 years, it's weird.
So it's only the
if you were to get them instantly.
the rapid clone.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, we'll super accelerate the cells and they'll pop out when they're 12 again.
Yeah.
Like, I'll do that.
I don't have kids, but I also
here's $50 million. Make that happen.
Yeah. And I think if you have a kid and something like that happens, hopefully it doesn't.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would be like, just rest in peace.
Yeah.
And then it's just like another thing. That's just me.
Well, I think
it's
going to be parallel though. So. Actually, now I think about it, like if you've got the technology that you can clone your baby, accelerated them up to the age that they were when they died, and then they pop out when they're 10 years old or whatever.
Sure.
Then you've clearly got the technology to clone yourself.
Yeah.
And then if you die, you can just clone yourself to when you were 20.
Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah, it's like the same thing with like time travel.
It's like, will people bother with families?
Yeah.
They'd be like, why do I need a kid? I'm just going to live forever now.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Like,
it's a vicious circle.
Yeah.
So
some people be like, no, we're going to have a baby. We're going to continue the human race like that. And they'd be like, what's wrong with you, you freak?
Yeah.
This is my 4th lifetime. I've just gone back again and again. One time I drove off a cliff. It was great.
I'm loving it. Groundhog Day.
Yeah. Groundhog Day.
I tried the toaster. I've tried the... throws a toaster in. Oh, yeah.
Robbing the bank, jumping off the bell tower.
That was like my favourite film growing up.
It's such a great film.
So good. Didn't really get it because in England I was like, what the fuck is Groundhog Day anyway?
Yeah, what is a Groundhog Day?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Some magic day in America.
It must be. I mean, there's obviously stats, Wikipedia on how accurate that fucking thing is, but yeah.
Time travel? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Groundhog time travel.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a good chat for this week.
Yeah, it was good.
Our new law is...
I don't think there's not really an answer to it, and then unfortunately, the Uber car thing that we had spawns off into loads of directions. This one
This goes everywhere, yeah.
We have like another 5 topics just coming off this one,
Yeah, but like if somebody cracks it, the world would go bananas overnight.
But it's like what you said, I think you were saying it on a podcast, or you were podcast or on the weekend, but if anyone's listening to this in the future,
yeah, if anybody's listening to this in the future and they're laughing at us, you guys have no idea. You have no idea.
They only got one thing right.
Yeah,
the
idiots.
sheep. We did shoot it into space.
Hashtag time travel. Hashtag Stony Tark.
Stony Tark. I do like that they who commented on that first actually.
Oh yeah, there was a comment on our YouTube. Someone got in there first.
Yeah, just checking the comment on there. It is Flare Knight. So he commented, "The new Stony Tark arrives." So yeah, just shout out for listening and picking up on that. But awesome little topic there, dude. Like we could talk for another probably 3 days about it.
I know, it just goes on and on.
Hey guys, we're uploading a 3-day podcast. We haven't eaten. But no, maybe we'll have to continue that.
We'll come back. I've got more crazy questions for the future.